Sweat poured down my face as I clenched the steering wheel. Street lamps rhythmically illuminated the car as I made my way home, my mind everywhere at once, as I felt on the verge of a panic attack. The closer I got to my house, the more I felt the anxiety build, and I begged for some release. It was the longest ride home ever. As I decided what to do from here on, I recanted the night's previous events. I worked at a bar, so I got off at 9 usually. Not closing time, but late enough to always be on edge as I exited through the side alley. This fear was heightened even more when I stepped out and noticed an unknown car waiting for me at the end of the alley, blocking the exit to the street. Memories of my past immediately came to mind. 5 years ago, I used to work for some bad people, and I had tipped off the police in order to avoid a more critical sentence. Since then, I had been clean, but always keeping a watchful eye out for trouble. 5 years later, it now seemed my reckoning was coming. My hand ready at my gun holster, I casually walked towards the exit, and then saw two figures step out from the shadows. They grasped at me, and one of them managed to get a cloth bag over my head, and as a reflex, I fired off my gun. I felt the weight of one of them slump against me, and then took off the cloth bag. The second assailant lay silently not far away. I had survived. But what now? Knowing the people I'd worked for, they'd also have someone looking for me at home. Oh God, they could have Julie. I had to check to make sure she was okay. I almost ran to my car, then immediately decided against it. Taking their car was best. They would think I was one of the kidnappers. So I dragged their bodies to the car and put them into the trunk. I couldn't call the police. They'd never believe me. Not with my record. I hopped into the car and made my way home, trying to stay at the speed limit as best as possible. I called Julie's phone, but there was no answer. It only went straight to voicemail. I cursed under my breath with each try. Finally, I'd made it to my block, and so I parked 2 houses over. Unsettling was the scene of my house, as my wife's car wasn't there, nor were any of the lights on. This was very unusual, since our street lights were not very good, and we always kept at least 2 lights on in the home. Plus, it always gave the vague appearance that there was someone there. To see if I could stir up any movement, I knocked on the door, then crouched down and put my ear to it. Maybe it was my imagination, but I swore I could hear faint voices inside. I decided going around back was the best way to go. So I made my way around, and silently unlocked the door and crept in. From the den, I could hear some muffled shuffling, and so I waited a moment for my eyes to adjust. Then I saw someone in front of me, and then I grabbed them around the neck from behind, and put the muzzle of my gun to their head. "Where are you keeping her, you son of a..." Suddenly the lights flipped on in the den. "Surprise!" The words cut off, as I witnessed a group of all my friends together in the den. It was obvious they were expecting me to come in from the main entrance, and in their confusion turned to greet me. My eyes widened in horror, and they gasped at the sight of me holding a gun up to my friend's head. "Holy crap, John, what are you doing?" my friend said. And so I let go, still taken aback. "John, are you okay?" my next-door neighbor said. "You look like you've seen a ghost." I put my gun down gently and began laughing hysterically. Here I was thinking I was gonna get assassinated, and it was a surprise party. The fact that today was my birthday never even occurred to me. "Oh my God, you guys scared the bejesus out of me," I said. "You wouldn't believe the night I've had so far." I felt giddy from so much relief. So we all chatted for a second, and I apologized for being so jumpy. "Yeah, you scared us too there, buddy," said Anne, my wife's best friend. "Especially when we didn't see Ryan's car." "Ryan's car? Don't you mean my car? Well, no. Maybe they changed their minds about doing it last minute. But the last I heard, Ryan and Julie were planning to kidnap you as a joke after you got out of work. Have you seen or heard from them? I suddenly felt the sickest I've ever felt in my life.